Hi there, I'm Mrs. Pritchett and I teach Intro to Geometry. And I'd like to say welcome to Open House. It's a virtual for the first time. I'd like to go through some of the things that your students are doing in class. And the first thing you can see is I have my little embedded picture here so that you can see the screen. So students, if they're absent or if they're a remote student, now if you're absent and you're too sick to come to school, but not too sick to do stuff, you can now join the class at regularly scheduled class time by clicking on your Google Classroom. And then the students would see all the classes that they're in. These are all math ones because these are mine, but they'd see the English, social studies, science, and then their intro to geometry. So if they're absent, but they can join and keep up with the work, that's a great idea. I would mark them as here but remote, so they would still have good attendance, and they wouldn't get behind in the math. So they would click on Intro to Geometry. The first thing they'd see is the stream, and this is the link that I would be on that they could just click on during class time. So they click on that and I would already be there. Sometimes it takes me a minute because we're walking from class to class, so students don't switch as much as the teachers do. So every period I have to go somewhere else to get to a different classroom. But there's some things in their stream that are important that I keep here all the time. So the first thing you see is my Intro to Geometry attendance policy and grading policy. So I'll click on that quickly for you. And the students have this, they can see it. It's not a big topic for them, so you might not have seen it before. But why take Intro to Geometry class? Well, it's for students that are not like math and science majors, or like if they're going to go to college, like a 2-year or 4-year, they would be doing something in the humanities or arts, not technically a math or science field, because it goes back through and we look at geometry stuff and a lot of the algebra stuff, and make sure that they have a better understanding than they had before. Also, a lot of students take it if they're going to do the non-Regents track for math, and they're just going to take like the intro and then intro to algebra 2, or if they're going to lead into a BOCES course, things like that. So they would have to talk to guidance about whether they should be in intro or in the Regents geometry. But here's my grading policy. Any assessments like tests or quizzes are 85% of the total grade. Classwork, 15%. I don't give homework in this class. We get everything done together. That way I make sure that they understand what we've done. And it's not filled with like proofs and theorems and stuff like that, like the Regents geometry is. I have to do that because that's what the state of New York says I have to do in the Regents. But here I can make up my own curriculum. So I do what's necessary for students to be successful in the next math course, or if they're going into the military or non-math science major in college. I make sure I cover those kind of topics that they do well on a placement test. So once I said before, I have that unless they're absent and they don't meet on Google Meet to do the work, then they would have homework to just finish up what we've done in class. Final exam, I have a multiple choice section that we do at the end of the year. And I put one math project. Usually I do 3, one each quarter. And then the fourth quarter is the multiple choice test part and average them together. But I just put one for now, depending on if things go well and we stay in school or not. But we just completed one, and I'll show you that in a second. And so we got one done already. So now let's see how far we get into second quarter, and we'll try to do another one. So attendance, I already talked about a little bit. If a student is absent, but well enough to go to the Google Meets, they hit on that link I showed you in Stream, and they join me. They already know how to do that kind of stuff. And they'd see exactly what I'm presenting on the board, and they'd have the work already there that they could either download or they could print off and then take a screenshot and send it back to me if they wanted to. All right, and then, oh, let's get out of here. And then also, here's all the topics that we cover in geometry. And I don't exactly go in this order, but I do check them off and make sure that I cover everything. So that's our curriculum. It's always listed there. And they can check off as we go step by step and do the things. And further down below, you see I have a graphing calculator link. So they can click on this, and if they don't have a calculator at home, they can do it right online. And then this is my Bitmoji classroom. And I made a little avatar of myself so they can sort of see me as a cartoon. Whoop, there goes my lights. But what is this for? Well, it's some quick links for them. So if they click on the letter, they get my email address. And they don't have to look it up at the school. If they click here, whoop, down a little bit lower, they get the Common Core high school math reference sheet. There's the calculator link again. And then this one, if they forget how to do stuff in Google Classroom, it's a whole like little manual with headings so that they can look up what they need to do. And that's always in their Google Stream. It always stays just the way it is. So now let's go to what it looks like when we're in the class mode, when I'm running the classroom. So I'll take you through this remote day that we just did today because it's got a type of everything that I do in class. So on a normal day, they wouldn't see all of these things that I posted, but I just wanted to make sure that kids' technology at home worked before I start pushing some stuff out to them. So they'd see the title right here, remote day, and it might say something else for them like transformations, solving equations, whatever. And then they'll see the instructions of the order they should do things in. And let's say they missed the Google Meet, like they have a dentist appointment or doctor's appointment, then I always do either make my own video or I upload a video of somebody that teaches the same way I do. And they can watch the instructional video if they can't make it to the Google Classroom. It's better to come to Google Classroom because I put extra stuff in there that helps them out. But if not, then they can just watch the video. So here's an example. They would just click on it.
All right, it's already Wednesday.
And that's me.
We're doing Pythagorean theorem. Now, this is very quick. It's only one slide to go through because all you're doing is the same skill that we've been doing for 2 days. So Pythagorean theorem, you're going to tell whether a triangle that they give you is a right triangle or not. So,
all right, so I'll stop it there because you don't need to know about Pythagorean theorem. But they always have an instructional video. Either I make it or I pick one that somebody else has made. And depending on the format I'm using, this one's another video up here. But if I have an assessment, usually I do it through problematic, and especially if it's multiple choice, because they can click on their choice and then they send it right to me and they just hit submit and it goes right to me in a problematic format, which I can then grade. And then also, if it's especially a worksheet where they have to show some work, they would click on the worksheet and they'd have to do over here, open in Kami. And what Kami does is it's a way to write on, and you can see I've already demonstrated earlier today. So a way that you can write on the worksheet. So right now I'm going to move my picture so that you can see they have the tools over here. So if they want to do like a markup, they can highlight something. They pick the color they want to highlight. If it's a text box, that's how I got the 4 in there and the orange. So you just click and you can just type in it anything that you want. Great for English. And then the draw, I was showing them, you could write your name, you could solve an equation with the draw. It just gives you the lines you want to use. And then we have shapes if I am asking them to make like a 3D shape or something like that. And those are the tools we have right now. Now, if they need to submit this worksheet to me, one way that seems to always be working is they can download to their Google Drive. And then with the annotations means with the stuff that they wrote in there. and then they would come down and export. And depending on how much graphics it has in it, it might take a minute, so they might have to wait. And then they open it in Drive. And then it will pop up for them. So I've got some folders in there, but probably the kids don't. So it would just come up. Here it is. It would just come up here for them. And they would click on that, and then they know how to send that to me to Google Classroom. So, is there anything else? Let's see. I don't think so. So if you have any other questions, you can give me a call or shoot me an email. And if something's going on that you need me to know about, or if somebody's going to be out for a long time or anything like that, just contact me and I'll help them through on Google Classroom, and we'll try to keep them caught up. So thank you very much for coming to our virtual open house.